Terry Freeling. Well, she's a very busy person, so it's okay. I would understand if she misses a call.
She did contact me and said that she has an appointment at 2:45, so she will be calling in on the phone. So she may be
A little delayed.
getting scheduled and getting set up.
Thank you. Well, let's
Lois
call the
is
meeting
also, I think, on the phone, and she just needs to hit the *6 to get unmuted to speak into the.
Thank you, Katie. Let's declare the meeting officially begun at 2:36. And we're going to start with introductions. I'm Eric Lester. I'm the chair of the Berrien County Planning Commission, at least for the moment, assuming that last month's election was considered legal. It's occurred to me maybe we need to redo that just to make it all clearly legal. And it's also occurred to me that perhaps we should ask Attorney Dwayne to speak with us as a group at our next meeting, if that would be feasible, but let's leave that topic and continue the introductions. Greg Lammert, I think you are the vice chair. Are you on the call?
I am. Hello, everyone.
Can you give just 2 sentences about yourself, and we'll go through the other members, including all the new ones, asking for 2 or 3 sentences, but not a paragraph.
I've been on the board now for a couple of years, and originally from the Nashville, Tennessee area, and been up here for a few years now. So it's nice to see all the new members on board.
Indeed. Lois, I spoke with you not too long ago. Are you with us now? Can you say a word or 2 about yourself, Lois?
You need to hit *6.
Everybody else should be muted, ideally.
How's that?
That's good, Lois. We
gotcha.
hear you.
Thank you. I've been on the commission for a few years and just love it. I am Lois Foster. My address is Niles. I live in Berrien Township. We're right on the Niles Township line. I represent agriculture on the commission. That's not just farming, that's agriculture all inclusive.
Thank you. Terry, are you on the call? Doesn't sound like it. Jim Schoeneman, can you say a word or 2 about yourself?
Sure. Jim Schoeneman, lifelong resident of Southwest Michigan. Grew up on a fruit farm in just east of Benton Harbor, and then worked in the chemical industry. So I travel all around the Hill County as well as the state. So been on the commission since 2013.
Great, thank you. Rod Krieger, can you say a word about yourself?
Yes, I'm a Berrien County kid, grew up in Bainbridge and Coloma, and worked at Whirlpool and the Cook Nuclear Plant, and retired a long time ago, and have been on the, I guess I got first appointed in Hold On to Your Seats in 1975. I think I hold the record at longevity.
On the Planning Commission.
On the Planning Commission, right.
Bravo. Good
And
to have
also a very
institutional
wise
memory.
man.
Lee, I think you might be the next person. We're going to the new folks. You're a little older than the new folks.
Yeah, I have all of 2 meetings under my belt at this point. I grew up in Sawyer. Worked at Cook Nuclear for a number of years and finished up my career at Lake Michigan College. I was a longtime board member on the Stevensville Library Board, and have been on the Brownfield Redevelopment Commission for 12, 13, 14 years, something in that ballpark. And my goal here is to, at 70 years old, I'm going to try to match Rod's record at 25 years.
Bravo, we hope to succeed. Let's go on to our newer members. Matt Moser.
Hello, Eric and everybody. I'm Matt Mosier. I'm from Coloma Township. I've been a hometown Coloma boy my whole life. Lived in the township my whole life. I'm a farmer, nurseryman, have some other associated businesses that are agriculturally related. I guess I'm not sure what area I'm representing, except that I have experience in ag and general business, and also at one time worked with Berrien or the landfill in the Coloma area. So I'm fairly familiar with that operation in some ways too.
Great, thank you. Chris Hugel.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Hugel. I'm originally from Anderson, Indiana. I've lived in Berrien County since 1999. Past Berrien County Commissioner. I'm currently a realtor with Realty Executives. Spent 27 years in the hospitality industry and 4 years with the Chamber of Commerce. So glad to be here with you guys today.
Thank you. And Annette, thank you for your message indicating that Terry Freeling has joined us. Terry, would you say a couple of words about yourself as an introduction to everybody? Got to unmute yourself.
Hi there.
Hi, Terry.
Chairman Lester, this is Commissioner Freeling. I am thrilled to be with you guys right now. However, I am sitting in a parking lot waiting for my child to get COVID tested. Can you come back to me in a moment?
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's go to Arthur Havlicek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner, I hope and pray that it's a negative test, first of all. Second of all, born in Chicago, moved to Berrien County to Bridgman when I was 10 years old. My family knew it was a better place to live, work, and raise a family. Went to school at Lake Michigan Catholic, then Grand Valley. Worked for 5 years in the Michigan House as an advisor to 2 speakers and a legislative director. Came back home to become the president and CEO of the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber, trying to fill Chris's shoes. And I'm representing business on this board. Excited to do so. Want to keep it a great place to live, work, raise a family for years to come.
Thank you, Arthur. Gary Wood.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. We hear you.
Good. I'm Gary Wood. I live down in New Buffalo. I've been in the area, moved here about 8 years ago permanently, been coming up to this area, Harbor Country, for over 40 years. Raised my family in Oak Park, Illinois, lived there about 37 years, worked downtown in Chicago. I am currently the president of the Friends of Berrien County Trails, which is a new trail organization that we started a little over a year ago, hiking, biking, and water trails. And I guess my slot that I filled was environment.
Okay, thank you. I think that's everybody on the list except Terry. Terry, I don't know if you want to jump in at this point if you still have too much on your hands.
Hi, Dr. Lester, this is Terry. Yeah, I appreciate your patience, everybody. I am thrilled to be joining you guys and to have the new members here with us. I am a county commissioner serving as the ex officio member of the Board of Commissioners. I serve for District 8, which is covering Lake Township, City of Bridgman, Baroda Township, Village of Baroda, and a portion of Oronoko Township. My family has a 200-acre farm that has been in my husband's family for over 100 years. And so that is one of the areas that I have great interest, but I certainly have dabbled in lots of different things, be it economic development, retail, business, all of those things. So I guess jack of all trade, master of none. That is my expertise.
I think we master all of them.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And I'm going to make a idiosyncratic comment. I go by Eric. I'm happy if everybody calls me Eric. Chairman Lester is okay, and Dr. Lester is fine, but I think Eric is just marginally better. Let's put it that way. And Katie, I see our next item is election of officers. That was on, I thought, last month's agenda, but maybe we want to do it all over again, and I'm not sure. What are you referring to here, Katie?
Well, to be honest, I'm a little confused as to what's what. I've looked at our ordinance. I've looked at the bylaws and the act, the PA 33, and I really appreciated Matt Mosier's comments, because that also brought the question of if in fact our January meeting was properly done and or incorrect. And so what I gathered or understood in talking with talking with Dan, and I haven't actually spoke directly with corporate counsel, but my intent is to do that. As I understood, because we didn't have 5 voting members on our planning commission, or we only had 5 voting members on the planning commission, we didn't have a quorum per se to act on. And so technically we shouldn't have minutes for January. I was drafting those more as, or I understood that the minutes that I presented to you were more of notes of our discussion for the January meeting, because we didn't act on. And so then that made me question, well, should we have been technically did the vote for the chairperson and vice chair, did that, was that official or not? So I just felt like, let's do a redo just to make sure, because I knew we were going to have.
If there are no objections, I think let's just do that. It can't be illegal, I don't think, and it may be prudent. So Jim Schuneman, I think you were chair of the nominating committee. Could you present the nominations again very briefly?
Yeah, I just have a point of order. I think we need to do a roll call and call in, do we not?
Yeah, the introductions could have
I would've-
counted, but we didn't do it formally as via Zoom. So Jennifer, could you do roll, please?
Yes,
Let's do
everyone, when you say that you're here, if you could please tell me what location you're in. Foster?
I am Lois Foster. Niles is my address. Berrien Township is where I live.
And via Zoom?
I am on phone.
Okay. And Freeling?
Yes, I am present via Zoom in Granger, Indiana.
Havlicek?
Present via Zoom in the city of St. Joe.
Hugel?
Present via Zoom in St. Joe Township.
Krieger?
Present in Coloma Township.
Lambert?
Present via Zoom in Benton Harbor Township.
Lester?
Present via Zoom in St. Joe Township.
Mosier?
Present via phone and Zoom in Coloma Township.
Schuneman?
Present via Zoom from Oro Valley, Arizona.
Van Genhoven?
Present via Zoom, Lincoln Charter Township.
And Wood?
Present via Petaluma, California.
Zoom.
Zoom.
Thank you.
Chairman, we have
Jennifer?
11 present.
Thank you. That's our full complement. Jim, shall we go back to election of officers, and can you present the work of the nominating committee?
The nominating committee met several different times, and we nominated Eric Lester as a chairman for this coming year, 2021, and vice chair would be Greg Lambert.
Thank
So
you.
I'd like to put those 2 names in front of the board and present them as our officers for the 2021.
Do we have a second to those nominations?
Here,
I second those nominations.
Rod Krieger.
Rod Krieger seconding. Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any other nominations? Going once, going twice, going three times. Oh dear, look what you bought. Do we want to do a formal count and go down the list there, Jennifer?
Yes.
Or
Yes, we need to do roll
Okay.
call.
all right, do the roll call, please.
Foster,
Yes.
Havlicek,
Yes.
Hugel,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Schooneman,
Affirmative.
Van Genhoven,
Yes.
and Wood.
Yes.
Chairman, you have 10 yeas.
Thank you. I also want to say a thank you to each of you individually. I believe I spoke to all of you essentially under the mistaken assumption that I'd been elected chair, and in the hope of reaching out and getting to know everybody a little bit, just as persons. So thank you for taking the time to speak with me, and that may not be the last time, I'll just warn you. So let's vote on approving the minutes of December 8th. We've all had a chance to look at them. Do we have a motion to approve them?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the meeting of December 8th as written.
Thank you, Lee Van Genhoven. And do we have a second?
Second by Schooneman.
Thank you, Jim. All in favor, say aye.
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 Unless, and Jennifer, you'll tell me when you think we need a roll call instead of
I
a
need a
voice
roll
vote.
call vote for everything.
Everything? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes, because of
Let's do
being
it.
online. All right.
Because of being online, I see.
Yes. Foster,
Yes.
Havlicek,
Yes.
Hugel,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Schooneman,
Yes.
Van Genhoven,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have 10 yeas.
Thank you. So we're all approved and up to date on our minutes. And Katie, did you make some, dare we call them pseudo minutes for the January meeting?
So I just made notes, and
Notes.
if that's okay, we can,
Keep them on file?
yes, and I'll get clarification from.
Yes. We can
council.
always approve them later if they turn into minutes
Yes.
in the dark of the night. Thank you.
Yes.
You want to,
Also, if it's possible, can we make a revision to this agenda to move the public comments to the end of the meeting due to the nature, we're having the chat is not accessible to the public on
I see.
YouTube. So if we could do that, where then they could be, Annette will provide a notice of how to get access to be able to provide public comments. So there should be something on the screen that says the Berrien County Planning Commission meeting, all viewing is via YouTube. And then should you want to provide public input or public comments, you would have to go through the Zoom app with the meeting ID and passcode.
okay, that's pretty straightforward. Annette, do you think there are members of the general public attending the meeting? Can you tell that?
There are 6 right now. I don't know if, of course, I don't know who they are, but that's how many you have.
We'd love to hear from them, and if they would please make contact with Annette through this mechanism, then we'll listen to their comments at the end of the meeting before we adjourn. And Katie, do you want to discuss communications with us?
Sure. We have communications of three municipalities. They have updated their 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan. And under the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, this is one of the requirements to be able to be eligible for applying for various recreational and parks grants. And as part of that, kind of the checklist of their completion of their update to their plan is to provide a copy to the county planning commissions, if there is one, as well as they've already gone through and adopted the plan. So this is more of a communication. We did receive these plans. Ontaittle Township is actually in another county, but they're adjacent to us. So I think it was even more advantageous, or just, providing full opportunities to just demonstrate, particularly with maybe the intent of the trail map, or the non-motorized plans that are underway throughout the southern part of the county and connecting from Indiana, Mishawaka, South Bend, and up through Niles. There's also some parks, non-motorized trails through that area as well. So just showing connectivity and more of a regional concept. So we did receive those. They are on file, and typically we take those and we actually I just walk down the hall and give them to the Parks Department for their resource library as they update their parks plan as well.
Okay, thank you. Is there any old business?
I would just only say under old business, we would probably next month bring all of our confusion and get clarification on our format and structure next month.
Who votes and who doesn't and all that?
Correct, yes.
And I'll just mention, Terry, you're listening in, I hope. There was some discussion before the meeting actually began about whether an ex officio member, you, the county commissioner on this planning commission, is a voting member or not a voting member. Evidently, attorney Duane has made a comment about this, and I don't want to have we'll maybe discuss that a bit more when we get to the planning commission bylaws. It's not a settled issue, evidently. So moving on to new business, Katie, if you want to acquaint us with what's going on in Oronoko Township, or I'm sorry, Terry, did you want to make a comment?
Excuse me, Eric. Terry, what is your understanding of that?
Certainly. The only comment that I was going to make is my understanding with ex officio is that it is not a voting member, but I will definitely look to the advice of our corporate counsel on that.
Okay.
Terry, on that note, can I point out to you and thus to the entire Board of Commissioners in Berrien County that if you are not a voting member, that leaves us with 10 voting members, and having an even number of voting members could be a prescription for gridlock, but it's not my decision to make for sure. I'm just pointing it out.
Terry?
Further discussion on this at a later date.
Terry,
absolutely.
The statute, Terry, the statute defines it as a voting member.
Oh, okay. Well, I will certainly, as the chair has stated, more to be discussed on it.
The chair has always enjoyed working with you, Terry, and is happy if you vote. And since I'm not aware that we've ever had a near tied vote, I will sleep soundly tonight, whichever way it works out. Let's put it that way.
Certainly, and it has no bearings on my effort that I will put forth with regards to this commission.
That's typical Terry Freeling, always hardworking. So let's do new business, and then we'll come to the Planning Commission bylaws separately, and then we'll take public comments and then adjourn. So Katie, rezoning.
Okay, so the first one is Oronoko Township. And there is several properties that are being proposed for rezoning from R2, they're single two-family residential. There is, I think, two parcels that are also zoned manufacturing M. And the request is to rezone it to E1 estate residential.
This is in your PowerPoint that you sent us, right?
Yes, and I have it on my screen. Are you seeing it, or I have it on the screen?
Thank you.
You're all viewing it. Okay.
Katie, what is E1 estate residential?
It's a low density residential district.
Low density?
Yes. Like
Okay.
more of a rural residential, there's every community has different autonomy to what they want to call the district. This is their estate residential is just larger lots.
Oh, okay. All right. I understand what
So
you're saying.
low density, not,
I see what, I know what you're talking about.
okay, thank you. So most of the properties are on Tudor and Snow Road. The petition to rezone was brought before the property owner that owns majority of the parcels within or majority of the land, I should say, land mass. And it's the Hemmel family. So Lauren, Lowell, and Judy were initially interested and put the request to the township. However, the township is in the process of updating their master plan right now, and they recognized that this area, they have their master plan showing it as low density, and they were considering wanting to make that be updated in for their zoning ordinance as well, to make it a low density residential. Because of the size of the numbers of parcels, they did give notification to all of those under the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. So notification was provided. And from their public hearing and comments, one property owner had requested to not be included due to they had a portion of their parcel was in manufacturing, and they didn't want to rezone it if they needed to expand their business or anything like that, the manufacturing facility. So they were removed out of that area. And then the Township Planning Commission did recommend approval. So this next slide I have is the area that's highlighted in red is what is identified as those parcels that were listed on the first screen. And as you can see, I don't know, apparently my mouse isn't working, but so on Snow Road, there is a little bit of etched out area that is, there's two parcels there, and those were the ones that requested to be not included in this rezoning because it's manufacturing.
So
are there active manufacturing businesses there now?
I believe there is. In communication with the township, they indicated that the property owner, in case of expansion to their business, they wanted to make sure that they had the proper zoning, so they didn't want to change the zoning.
Thank you.
This is their current zoning that shows that most of this area is, that it is surrounded. There is other R2, so it's not like they're excluding this zoning use, and that most of these lots are already large lots to begin with for that rural or that estate residential. So here's just kind of a comparison of the proposed rezoning and the current zoning. And I think that, and then this is their future land use map that shows this as their low density residential. They've identified this area for low density already, and they plan to, they're in the process, as I said, that they're updating their master plan. And this was something that was already in discussion prior to the request. So it just happened to come before the master plan is completed.
I'll move to agree with their planning commission.
Thank you, Rod.
I'll second that motion.
I didn't catch who that was.
Lee.
Lee, thank you. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, let's take a vote.
Foster,
Yes.
Havlicek,
Yes.
Hugel,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Schoeneman,
Unmute.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dinkenhoven,
Yes.
Wood.
I support.
Mr. Chairman, you have
Thank
10
you.
yeas.
Thank you. So that's tended to affirmatively. Katie, back to you about the Coloma Charter Township rezoning.
Yes, so Coloma Charter Township has a proposed rezoning. The owner of the property is RJSK Rentals, and Robert Howell is the active owner, or the participant owner. Is that the right word? And the property ID is 11-08-0021-0039-009. The request is to rezone the front about 4.26 acres from residential mobile home to C1 commercial. And this property is along Red Arrow Highway. The total property of this parcel is 15.28 acres. The minimum lot size that's allowed for a residential mobile home property is 10 acres. So removing the 4.26 acres, it's still eligible for the existing residential mobile home zoning designation. The minimum lot size for commercial is 720 square feet. So there's these are in compliance with their zoning ordinance. The applicant has interest in, upon approval of rezoning, to split the 4.26 acres into 3 lots. And so their intent is to have these as commercial. Along their future land use area, they have this as high density residential, but I think that's due to the nature of it being a mobile home zoning designation. And however, their Township Planning Commission did recommend approval of the proposed rezoning. I did send you some supporting documents, which are similar to what I have, I think, on this screen. So here's the parcel. And as you can see, it's one large parcel right now. And if you kind of follow the dark line that is parallel to Red Arrow Highway, it kind of makes, it has, it makes a almost parallel across the way there. It has, that's the area that they want to rezone commercial. And then keeping in line the back portion, the 10 acres, it's about 10.5 or so acres that would be remaining in as mobile home, residential mobile home. Additionally, the property north across the railroad track, where there's this little spot of water, wet space, that is also zoned residential mobile home. And then to the left of this area on Park Road, that's also another mobile home residential zoning designation. So this is a survey that was also submitted with the proposed rezoning of the intent, or what they intend to do to, if approved rezoning, they would split these 3 parcels in the front here to parcel A, B, and C. It looks like on the western portion, the parcel C would be a retail business. There is currently a residential structure or some kind of residential structure in parcel B that would remain as a home. And then parcel A would be vacant and available for any commercial use. To the properties east and west of this parcel is also commercial. So I'll show you on the map. So here's where, this is their future land use map, and it's showing this area as high density residential. And I think that's just due to the nature of it being a mobile home park along that area, but it is surrounded by commercial. And here is also their zoning map. I apologize for the blurred vision, or the blurred copy, but it does show here as the residential mobile home park. And again, as you can see, the surrounding area is all commercial. So it is compatible with the surrounding area.
Katie, the parcel D, the 10 acres, is that currently occupied by mobile homes? It's zoned for them, but
it has the infrastructure for it, and it looks like there are some. It's obviously, if you look to the west, where there is the active mobile home park on Park Drive, that
Katie?
is, yeah.
There are no mobile homes there.
Okay.
there are none. Okay.
This is, Mr. Howell started this park. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, probably 30 years ago. And
Probably at least, yeah.
yeah, it's never come to fruition. And unfortunately for him, I guess. And it's probably time to make the change. To put it to better use. It's never, these pads have been in there for years and years and years. And I don't know, maybe there was a home on them once or twice over the last 30 years, but that's about it.
Thank you, Ron. Do you wish to make a motion to approve this request?
It's that is that for that whole blue thing is for commercial?
No. So it's, if you can see, it's just the roughly the
A and C.
Yes. That's the area that they're proposing for the rezone.
I'll certainly approve.
Or
Go with that. Yes.
parcels A and C?
Yes.
Or how about just the not more than 5 acres of the parcel?
Yeah. Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Support.
Arthur Havlicek supports. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Do you want to run down the list, Jennifer?
Foster,
For a vote.
Yes.
Havlicek,
Yes.
Hugel,
Yes.
Krieger,
Yes.
Lammert,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Mosier,
Yes.
Schoeneman,
Aye.
Van Genhoven,
Yes.
Wood, Gary
Unmute.
Wood,
The challenges of internet communication. Gary, we didn't hear you. Do you want to
Oh.
vote?
Yeah, I said I support. You didn't hear me?
Thank you. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, we have 10 yeas.
thank you. So that completes our new business. Under miscellaneous, we have listed Planning Commission bylaws. I want to thank Matt Moser for a detailed read that he gave it and detailed comments that he sent to Katie. And Katie, do you have other thoughts and comments on this subject?
So yeah, what I wanted to just share is,
Last slide on your PowerPoint.
yeah, but you don't see my PowerPoint right now, right?
No.
Not seeing it at the moment.
Okay. Only that I was just going to highlight some of the draft amendments to be consistent with the purpose of this was to align the ordinance and the bylaws so that they are compatible and consistent. And
This is the Berrien County ordinance.
yes, the Berrien County Planning Commission ordinance number
Right.
22.
Thank you.
The area that initially brought this to our attention was the membership, because in our bylaws previously or currently right now, they have only 9 members identified as areas of various interest groups. And our ordinance specifically states there's 11 members. And so we wanted to flesh that out and indicate the various areas of that, of those interest groups that also follow the recommendations in the statute and also within the ordinance itself. So that was one of the main, the impetus for this update and review. Also cleaning up some other areas like our officers, clarifying that the secretary is the director, but we also put a recording secretary, as Jennifer has been doing a brilliant job making sure that the minutes and documentation is proper. We also added in section 4 public comments to our agenda because that wasn't in there previously, and that is something we want to make sure we give the opportunity for public comments. We also looked at adding or its designee under section 1 of Article 9, and section 4, we removed the budget as the Board of Commissioners approve our department budget. So each year we include the Planning Commission as part of our community development general budget, our basic operating budget. So the other area was pointed out that adding email of how you receive notification and information for our Planning Commission. We felt that was much needed, since that is predominantly the way we've been handling most of our communication, particularly with COVID. So some areas that I just wanted to add in that need clarification. And again, we plan to get regardless of what we review, we would always have the corporate counsel review what we submit, and but it appears we kind of need to get their input a little on the front end for some further discussion and recommendations to you all, so that we can get these moved forward. And then but the areas that I find needing clarification is the ex officio member, getting that as it states in the Act 33, that they do have voting rights, but then also looking at our, if there's something that changes that, or if there's something else that trumps that, we want to make sure we get clarification or a legal opinion from that. And then also appreciate Matt Mosier's comments with regards to the quorum and the majority of the commission, and how that what that looks like, and particularly the part where if there's affirmative vote of 2/3 of the total number of seats for members of the commission, that would be in where we would need the 2/3 vote would most likely be on topics where we would be adopting like our master plan, as well as the bylaws, those kinds of activities. But as far as like our general meetings and the recommendations that we provide to zonings and text amendments, like what we just did this afternoon, those would, as I see, which again, I'll get clarification from corporate counsel, that those would be based off of a majority of those in the quorum that are present at the meeting.
And Katie, if I may, the statute requires a 2/3 vote by villages and cities, and only a simple majority for townships in the county.
Right.
For master plan approvals. Does not require a 2/3 vote by county or township planning. So actually, they've outdone the statutes.
Right, so that's from our ordinance, yeah, so
they've exceeded statutory requirements in that 2/3 vote requirement. 2/3 vote is only required by cities and villages by statute, not by counties or townships for master plan approval by statute. So the county in their ordinance has exceeded the statutory requirements.
Again, I would put that in the hands of corporate counsel to review.
We should ask them if they still want to do that or not.
Yeah, so there are a few things that we want to bring to their review, to his review, but also I believe in the act, it also indicates that in the ordinance we can, or as a community creates an ordinance, they can also put on additional. So that's a question I would ask, if that's something that we have used as a county, that guidance.
Katie?
Yes.
Katie, this is Lois. May I ask you a question?
Sure.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I have a point of clarification. In the information you've been giving us, often you use the word we. We added, we did this, we did that. Please define clearly who we is, would you kindly?
Sure. So as far as in the bylaws of making the changes, there was the work group of the chair, Eric Lester, and Vice Chair Greg Mammert that had met, as well as the comments that were when we sent out the draft of the bylaws to the full Planning Commission members. And we got response back from some of the members of their either edits or questions. And as far as the other part of the we, it would be the existing ordinance where it states in 2008 when it was adopted, we as the county board of commissioners, the county.
Okay, thank you very much, Katie.
Katie, this is Matt Mosier. I would think that we should just adopt the section in the county ordinance and put it into our bylaws. And the one thing that I noticed that where the bylaws are inconsistent with the county ordinances, and that is where the bylaws sort of indicate that just a majority of the quorum has the ability to approve an action, when in fact the county ordinance says a majority of the members of the commission, which is, at 5 or 6. So any affirmative action has to be by 6 or more people for anything really to be, counted as an affirmative action. I think this is consistent with probably state statute. And I'm no lawyer, but I know on township boards, no action is an affirmative action unless it's voted on approved by a majority of the number of people on the board. And I would think that the same would hold true for the Planning Commission. And the county ordinance specifically states that. So I think the simple thing would be to just carry over the county wording from the ordinance into the bylaws.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds, I mean, again, that's where we will seek council's review on this and if it, yeah, and add that in, if that's the proper
Are
recommendation.
there other comments about the bylaws? Thank you, Katie. It sounds like we'll get back to all of us with whatever Attorney Dwayne has to say.
I do have one more question. And that is on, yeah, this is Matt Mosier again. And this is in regards to Article 7 meetings, Section 3, and the word executive session is used. And I don't see where that's defined. And I'm not exactly sure what executive session means.
I don't believe there's
So-
ever been an executive session meeting that I'm aware of this commission during my time, but that's not a reason not to clarify it ahead of time. So
Yeah.
Katie, maybe
Ask John about that too.
Yep.
right.
Yeah. If it refers to a closed meeting, then I think there's very specific language that needs to be placed in there in regards to complying with the Open Meetings Act, because we can get into more trouble with closed meetings than you can with anything else, I believe.
Yes, and I don't believe we've ever had a closed meeting in a planning commission setting.
Maybe we should just take it out.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Who wants
How many
executive
times has
sessions
the Planning
anyway?
Commission ever been sued?
Well, we don't want to be sued, and we're not interested in, finding out what it would take to get sued. I've never been sued. I want to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
The only other comment
Okay, well-
that I would add was I agree with the comments that you emailed in, Matt, and also I stumble across some of the same inconsistencies between Ordinance 22 and the statute that you mentioned, Rod. There's been a lot of discussion here about the attorney offering opinion. Going back to the statute where it says, this is the way the ex officio is unless it's changed by charter. So I don't know whether a legal opinion on the part of the county attorney constitutes a charter, or if that needs to be something that would be reflected in ordinance number 22 for us to follow.
We may eventually have to ask the county commission to revise the ordinance enough to clarify the issue.
Right.
Worst case. So Katie, we should actually maybe even ask Attorney Dwayne whether he thinks that's necessary or appropriate.
Okay.
And if so, Terry, I'm afraid we'll have to burden you with that question as our liaison. But we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit on all that. If there are no other questions, that should put, for the moment, Planning Commission bylaws back on the shelf until next meeting. Let's address.
Eric, I'm sorry, I had one other thought that was tumbling around in my head.
Go ahead, Lee.
Given uncertainty about how this played out, would it be advisable for us to add anything to this particular set of minutes to reflect that the vote on the actions that we did take on the rezoning were unanimous?
It couldn't hurt. So Jennifer, you've got that point. If you would just mention that those were all unanimous votes.
Mr. Chair, if I may too, as far as the 2/3 vote for certain decisions, even if that does exceed what statute requires, I tend to think that a higher threshold on more important matters is usually a good thing because it drives more consensus. So I would personally be in favor of leaving that as is, recognizing that we have a lower bar that we could achieve in order to get something done. I think the higher bar is better.
Thank you. Well, in the typical work of this commission in the past, at least the few years I've been on, there really have not been controversial issues that we've been facing. That, I suppose, could change, but that's kind of to be discovered as we discover the future. Katie, any other thoughts on this?
Not at this time. I appreciate everyone's attention to the details and the thorough review and input that you've all provided. I think that this is a great, it's a great testament to a new year, and certainly to be able to get a fresh start for making sure we're on point and on task for the Planning Commission. So I think this is a good problem to be in. And again, I appreciate everyone's time and effort into looking into this, and we'll get this resolved and bring it back to you all for next month.
Thank you, Katie. Annette, if you're still with us, is there any public comment?
I have put that up a couple of different times, as you guys have all seen, and I have checked back to try and test the chat on YouTube. It is not working. So as of right now, there's 4 listed as viewing the meeting, and I have not had any requests to enter the meeting, which they would have to go through the waiting room to do that. So I would say that there are no public comments.
Thank you, Annette. I suppose we might put your email address up at some point in the future for future meetings with this type of problem, but I don't think it's a terribly big issue. If anyone in the public has failed to make a comment and wanted to, they can contact me directly. I'm in the phone book. You can call me that way. ericlester@live.com is my email address, and so on. So no public comments. I think then we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So I had one question.
It is one question. Yes,
Could
Gary.
have an update on the master plan? I just haven't heard any conversation on it.
Yes, the master plan is a lot of parts and pieces are being developed. Where the missing piece is having you all sitting around a table and actually doing some consensus building and engaging in public comment portions of that. And so my plan, hopefully, is to work through different avenues by starting to maybe send, parts of chapters or sections within the master plan to review. And it could be something that could be highlighted in each month. In the past, we would do kind of a topic of the month as an education piece. I know in our bylaws, it tries to encourage training of some kind each year if funding was available, and we've had a very
no funding.
Yes, very very little funding to be able to do those kinds of engagement pieces. So we have been in the past just doing kind of topics of the month lessons, and sometimes relevant to the subject matter that's being presented. So my thought is to maybe use that opportunity to go through some exercises on the master plan that can be engaging in a virtual setting. So it's happening. It's slow. It's probably this is the slowest part of the process.
And Katie, I think we can say it's been slowed down by the problems with COVID and the nature of meetings. I would say to all the members of the commission, please feel more than free to contact me either by email or phone call or whatever works for you, to share your thoughts about the master plan. Those of you who are new may or may not have had a chance to look at the prior master plan from 2015, which is, of course, one form of a template. And there likely are other county master plans that we might want to look at for comparison's sake. Those of you who are who have significant interests as people who are fully trained in planning, and certainly the rest of us too, may have all kinds of new and innovative ideas about a master plan, which may or may not work. So share them with us. Katie, is there a deadline for this?
Well, I anticipate that this will be rolled out by at some point this year. We'll have a draft for
the end of this year for sure.
Oh, yes.
We'll get a good draft going well before that. If there are no other comments, thank you for those.
Terry Freeland had a comment, Eric.
Jen, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Chair, this is Terry Freeling. I just wanted to give briefly an update to this commission on the efforts of the county for broadband. I know it's been a point of topic in the past, and I wanted to just make you all aware that February 15th is the launch date for the survey that we are going to be doing county-wide. It's michiganmoonshot.org/Berrien. What I'm going to do is I'll forward the communication piece onto Katie to have it forwarded to all of the board members of this commission. If you would like to take the survey, that would be awesome. If you want to push it out to others who may be interested, that would be wonderful as well. And our hope is that we get a better understanding of the gaps that we have here in Berrien County and to improve the map that we currently have with regards to broadband access in Berrien County.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
On that note, then, I'm looking for a motion of adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, this is Lois. I say welcome to our new members. This was a really great meeting. I move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Schoeneman seconds.
Thank you, Jim. Do we need to run? I guess we do. Down the list then. Jennifer?
This is for adjourning at 3:38. Foster?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Havlicek?
Yes.
Hugel?
Yes.
Krieger?
Yes.
Lammert?
Yes.
Lester?
Yes.
Mosier?
Yes.
Schoeneman?
Aye.
Van Genhoven?
Yes, with appreciation for the new members.
Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that's 10 yeas, unanimous.
Okay, a little over an hour. So